I am Tennessee, and today I'll be talking about the Battle of Midway. The Battle of Midway occurred during World War II, in which the Axis forces were pitted against the Allied forces. The two countries warring in this battle were America, representing the Allies, and Japan, representing the Axis. The battle, well, to give a little bit of background, the battle was the Japanese way of compensating for their failure at Pearl Harbor. At Pearl Harbor, earlier the year before, in December, had the goal to destroy their aircraft, the American aircraft carriers. However, the aircraft carriers were gone when the Japanese launched the attack. So, Admiral Yamamoto for the Japanese came up with a plan to lure the American fleet out and destroy them in the Battle of Midway. From there, they would take Midway and pursue to Hawaii and force America to make peace terms so Japan could turn their full might against China and the other countries they were facing against. So the battle begins as the Japanese forces close in on Midway. However, while that did work to lure out the aircraft carriers, a transmission was intercepted by the Americans, letting them know what the Japanese plan was. So the Americans sent their Admiral Nimitz around with a larger force to also attack the Japanese. So the Japanese were caught off guard by an outflanking maneuver and a far larger force than they had anticipated. The battle ensued between June 4th and June 7th, 1942, only 6 months after the war had begun for America, and in the end it was a complete Japanese disaster. The Japanese had lost 4 aircraft carriers and only destroyed 2 of the American ones, and the Japanese had lost a heavy cruiser, losses far higher than they had anticipated. Over 3,000 had been killed on their side, while the Americans had only lost around 300. Aircraft losses were also extremely high for the Japanese and relatively low for the Americans. This during World War II was overall a turning point. Japan up to that point, when Battle of Midway, Battle of Guadalcanal, and Battle of the Coral Sea happened, had been unstoppable. Their ground, air force, and navy had been smearing through the Allies almost as fast as Germany had in Europe. But at this point, America was able to flip the tides, and the Allies began pushing back into Japanese territory. So the Battle of Midway was won, and the war in the Pacific was turned. That is the summary.